The Moist Meter is a proud partner of our comic book series Godslap and Plague Seeker. Both are available at badegg.co, link in the description. Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at the new Spider-Man movie, Across the Spider-Verse. Now, the first movie, Into the Spider-Verse, is one of my favorite animated films of all time. That movie is a real special butterfly. That's one of the very unique instances where a film comes out that legitimately innovates in its genre, like pushes it to new limits that were previously thought impossible. Kind of like what The Matrix did 20-some years ago, where it had this new element that hadn't really been seen before, and has now been emulated a ton since. That's what Into the Spider-Verse did. It dragged us fucking kicking and screaming into the future of what animation can look like, and it was beautiful. It's kind of like what the Fosbury flop did for the high jump, right? Like, it legitimately kind of changed the perception of what was possible in the genre for animation here. So, Across the Spider-Verse had some very big shoes to fill, and I'm happy to say it filled those shoes like a cavity. This is an extraordinary follow-up, and somehow manages to once again elevate in animation. It is so beautiful. There is not a single second that goes by in this movie that isn't jaw-droppingly gorgeous. Every frame is a beautiful masterpiece of art. It's unreal just how good this movie looks. But it's not just style with no substance. This movie really doesn't bring you a ton of action off rip. Like, there is a lot of course, action, but it actually puts a big focus on its narrative and its characters. And even when characters are just talking to each other, not only is the writing super tight, somehow just conversations feel like anime montage moments. They'll have like these damn near hand-painted moments where a character like Gwen is talking to her father, and the background's just constantly changing. Just these like dynamic backgrounds that have evolving art that really like makes the conversations feel like action moments sometimes. It's so cool. So now let's talk about the story, because I think they did a great job with the narrative here. It didn't feel like super familiar from the first film, where it just felt like they phoned it in and just did what worked in the first film again. You know, like an encore performance, a King Neptune moment from SpongeBob where it's like, oh, that Krabby Patty tastes so good, I'd want to eat it a second time, and then just fucking regurgitate it. This movie doesn't fall into that trap. It delivers a story that feels really at home with where the first movie leaves off. And now they have a new tool they can get even more creative with, which is the multiverse. It's now no longer this big mysterious thing in the world. They can get very silly with how they use it and make some absolutely dreamlike sequences as well. So they have a lot more Spider-Men come into the fold here, a whole goddamn society of them. So you're going to get a lot of Easter eggs and cameos, but it doesn't feel like too campy or too cheap, where they're banking off just like nostalgia for some of the cameos they throw in here or references. It's used in a clever way. I'm trying not to get into spoilers here, but I love how they've used the multiverse in this movie and made it a very strong narrative tool, as well as, of course, a tool to give you a bunch of other different animation mediums, because a lot of Spider-Men are animated differently in the multiverse. So you'll have some that are like damn near claymation at some points, right? Like you have wacky ways that they portray some of the Spider-Men, but they use it in a way that's not just like point and be like, I get that reference. Don't get me wrong, that shit is absolutely there, but it's not like egregious, and it does serve a purpose in the story itself. I also love the villain in this movie. He starts as just like a goofball, throwaway stinker of a character who's like trying to rob an ATM, and Miles isn't taking him super seriously, so he's kind of like beating his ass while he's texting on the phone because he's late for a meeting at school. And then that character just keeps snowballing into an extremely powerful villain. The guy is the definition of a late game champ. Like, as the movie continues, he himself continues to get stronger. He can throw these little holes that allow him to basically just ascend into a different plane of existence. He has like full mastery of the multiverse. He can send things and send people, send himself, send different body parts of himself through these holes that just keep reaching into different parts at will. It's super cool. And since the movie is so visually beautiful, it's a lot of fun to watch this villain fight. And even when he's not fighting, just watching him traverse the universe is really cool as well. I also like his personality because he's very much a goofball for the most part. He's making quirky little quips as well, not to like an annoying degree, like where it's grating, but to a degree where it's like, oh, this guy's, it's hard to even like be mad at him, right? Like he's got a sympathetic story, and it's hard to hate him because he's just kind of like a likable nerd. But he's just so powerful too. It's cool. So I really like what they did with the villain. And I really like what they did with Gwyn and Miles. So Gwyn gets a lot more screen time this time around. You see a lot from her dimension, which is stylistically very different from all the other dimensions you see. Every dimension has its own unique identity, which I really appreciate. So as you visit different dimensions, the visual thumbprint of that world changes, which is cool. Now Gwyn's story is, sad like all other Spider-Man stories. Gwyn has a lot of problems that she's dealing with her dad thinking that she may have been responsible for something very horrible. She ends up, turning into a multiverse super soldier, leaving all of her problems behind, which abandons her dad, and she wrestles with a lot of tough shit that goes on. And I really think they did a great job with Gwyn's character in fleshing out her, as well as the relationship between her and Miles. Miles is just an outstanding character. I love everything they do with this character. The writing is amazing. A lot of times when there's like a teenage character going through that like rebellious stage, it's kind of annoying to watch for me personally. But with Miles, he doesn't really have that stage. Like, yeah, there's that, like, fuck you, mom and dad, why can't you just let me grow up kind of shit. But it's handled very differently than the normal tropey way of doing it, which is such a breath of fresh air. I can't stand that shit where it's like that cliche of a teenager. My mom and dad don't understand me. Those goobers just don't get it. It's not a phase. And then that becomes like the whole character's personality. Miles doesn't fall into that at all. It's like the decisions he makes and the way he goes about his journey is very well crafted. He understands where his parents are coming from for the most part. It's just he has to wrestle with the perpetual lying to them about his identity and hiding that huge part of his life from them. So I just really like all the characters. I love the story, and of course I love the visuals. Another thing that I really enjoy is something that the first movie did as well, but they do in this movie even better, which is weaving music into the actual living, breathing nature of the visuals. So the music is integrated so well. Like, you'll have visuals sync up to the songs where you'll just have like all kinds of different moving pieces to an action scene sync up to the music at moments, or as things build up in a crescendo in a song, the visuals start building up with like the animation style starting to blend together and get real fucking wacky. It's so cool. It's so fucking cool. The movie is just beautiful. I absolutely love the film, but I do have a major complaint, and I'm unfortunately not going to be able to dive into it super deep because it's big spoilers. But I do want to scratch the itch and get to it on a base level, so I'm going to talk about it, and it is minor spoilers even going over it, so this is your spoiler warning. It has to do with the end of the film. I think everything in this movie is great, top tier. But it falls into something that I feel a lot of movies are starting to do, where the entire last act of the film builds up beautifully. It's introducing secondary bad guys that are really interesting, really cool, a lot of amazing moments going on, bringing back some familiar characters. It's going, it's got all this momentum, and then it starts spending a lot of that time focusing on just leading you to the sequel. The movie is not going to be the last in the Spider-Verse series. There's going to be another one, I imagine, assuming this movie does well, which I think it will. And the movie knows that. So it just ends. In the middle of all of this buildup, in the middle of all of these ingredients being put into the stew, it just ends. Because it's setting up for the next film. It does have like a cool sign-off at the end, but not a satisfying one. And this is something I feel a lot of movies are starting to do, where it's setting up for the next movie, so it ends up taking some wind out of its own sails by giving you a conclusion that's not really a conclusion and isn't super satisfactory after the whole journey you've just gone through. You don't get that big payoff at the end. Now, this worked for Infinity War because at the end you still had a climactic showdown. You had a big battle and the good guys lost, and it led into the next film. In this movie, there's no big climax moment. There's no big climactic final showdown where something just goes awry and now we're gonna leave you on the edge of your seat fucking salivating waiting for the next movie. This movie was still in the building process. So it really feels like this movie didn't have that climax, at least not when it comes to like a spectacle finale or anything. The characters by the end of it are in a very different place than they were at the beginning, you know, in terms of like what they're... I'm really trying not to get too deep into spoilers. The characters are very different by the end of the film than they are in the beginning, but there was never that big climax. So when the credits rolled, I felt like it was a little underwhelming because we hadn't had any like big moment to lead into the next one. It was still putting all these pieces of the puzzle together and bringing new things into the fold for the climax coming up. So at least in my opinion, that's how I feel, that it was just a bit like abrupt, where I was ready to keep watching. Like I thought there was going to be, you know, a big moment about to pop off, and then they pulled that punch to save it for the next film. So it felt like it was, I don't know, it felt like it really just wanted to be there to lead to the next film, and that takes some of the wind out of its own sails, if you ask me. By no means does it ruin the film or anything like that. By no stretch of the imagination is this a deal breaker for Across the Spider-Verse. I just felt a bit disappointed that it kind of just existed towards the end to push to the sequel. That just was a little upsetting, but it's not the biggest deal in the world because the movie is still absolutely outstanding. So plugging Across the Spider-Verse into the Moist Meter, I'm giving it a nice 90%. I think this is a must-watch animated film. Even if you're not a huge animated film fan, the movie has still just got so much to offer. I can't recommend it enough. It is such a unique experience, and I think they've done an incredible job with it. It's super fucking good. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah. Huge thanks to ourselves for sponsoring this Moist Meter. Godslap is a comic series written by myself, Jackson, Matt, Danny, and Aubrey Sitterson. It follows the story of a character named Ace, who's an extremely powerful slapper in a world where slapping is king. Issue 3 just dropped. It's all available at badegg.co, and shit is starting to pop off. Ace is being hunted by a mysterious foe named Defister, who, after swan diving through a hospital, picks up Ace's trail and hunts him to the ends of the earth with his sidekick Olfactor. And also, our newest comic series, Plague Seeker, just came out. Issue 0 is available at badegg.co. It's written entirely by myself and edited by Jackson. It's set in a world 1,000 years after an apocalyptic event known as the Calamity. An asteroid hits Earth, and it brought with it mutations that changed all of its inhabitants. Now the world is infested with things called plagues, and atop the food chain sits 8 great plagues that control the entire world, and only one man stands against them, the Plague Seeker, who has an insatiable appetite to devour those 8 great plagues. So all of this is available at badegg.co, so please check it out. So yeah.
This episode of Moist Meter brought to you by Godslap. Issue 3 is out right now at godslapbook.com. You can find links below in the description. Go check it out.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So, a lot of you already know, they did try to make a Mario Bros. Movie in the 90s. Most people view it as an unholy abomination. I look back on it fondly. I grew up and I actually really liked that movie. I watched it a lot as a kid. I could recognize it had nothing to do with the games, but I couldn't help myself from just getting excited watching it for like the 20th time. There was something about that film that was just kind of special. It was unique and very weird. It was like a real avant-garde fever dream kind of movie. And I get why they stopped making movies after it, because it was received so horribly and is still considered one of the worst movies ever made by a lot of people. But I just wanted to get that out of the way right now, that I still have a very soft spot for that film. But anyway, I'm glad they're trying again, because as a lot of people have mentioned, this opens up the door for Nintendo making other big budget movies on other IP they have, such as Metroid, Zelda, all of that. So they needed this one to slap. And I'm happy to say that it does slap. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's like a Vasily Kamatsky style slap where it's like unreal and it's going to rock your world or fucking shake the foundation of animated films forever, but it is good. And I want to get this out of the way right now since there's already been controversy. I don't know what the movie critics watched, but it certainly wasn't this film. It had like a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes yesterday, and I don't know what happened there. They must have been boofing crazy pills. That is outrageous. This is not by any means a bad movie. I wouldn't even consider it a mediocre movie. I would say it is good. Above all else, it's very fun and captures the spirit of the games extremely well. Going into this, I was apprehensive about Chris Pratt voicing Mario. It just seemed like a pretty silly fit, and in the trailers, I was less than impressed. It honestly sounded like me delivering the lines when I first woke up in the morning. So I didn't think that was going to work, but after watching the whole film, it seems like they really just did a montage of his worst lines for the trailers, because the rest of it actually worked pretty well. I didn't have any problems with Chris Pratt as Mario or any of the other voice casts for that matter, so that was a nice, pleasant surprise because I expected that to be the one thing that always rubbed me the wrong way about it, but it didn't. The film is extremely simple, which runs contrary to one of the popular reviews that said it's totally inaccessible or hard to follow. Which I'm hung up on these reviews. They've actually got me tilted. I'm fucking stun-locked on how stupid some of the reviews were for this movie, and then calling it somewhat offensive. I really don't know what happened there. If that doesn't prove that general movie critics are pretty worthless, then I don't know what will. Calling Super Mario Bros. Inaccessible or confusing. It's... Moving on. The thing about the film is it's extremely simple and is very clearly catered towards families as opposed to hardcore gamers, right? This is an IP that's existed for fucking 4 decades now, pretty much. So a lot of the people that grew up with Mario and actively play it are adults. And this is not a film that's geared towards them, but it is a film that they will enjoy. I am 28 years old, and I had a smile on my face a lot of times in this film. It's chock full of references and Easter eggs that you'll point and be like, I get that one, and it's cute. But it is a film that is very clearly for an entire family, younger audience, as well as something parents can enjoy too. The narrative is as simple as it gets. Mario and Luigi find themselves in Mushroom Kingdom, and they get split up where Luigi gets captured by Bowser and Mario's got to free him. And through that simple premise, they go on an adventure, they meet Donkey Kong, Princess Peach, and they go to free him. I will say that I actually do have a complaint about the narrative. I don't really understand what the point was in splitting Mario and Luigi up for this movie. I feel like that was just kind of a misstep. I understand Peach is usually the one that gets captured, and if they really didn't want her to be captured here and have her have moments to shine, that's fine. Just don't have someone get captured then. You could still have Bowser cruise up in the goddamn fucking war island and breathe fire and everything, and that's still an imminent threat that Mario and Luigi would be motivated to stop to help people. You didn't really need Luigi to be captured. For the most part, for the majority of the movie, Luigi's just the damsel in distress fucking hanging and putting his thumb up his ass with nothing to do. Which I think kind of sucks, especially because Charlie Day's performance as Luigi was really good. He does have some moments, but I just really think that was kind of a weird decision to have him be captured. If you did want someone to be captured, I do think it probably should have been Peach, and if you didn't want Peach to be the one being captured, well then just don't have anyone be captured in the first place and everyone works together, fucking power of friendship like anime's taught us, and they go stop Bowser for the good of the Mushroom Kingdom. That would have still been just fine. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I did find that a little stupid to have Luigi just be totally out of the equation for most of the film. But aside from that, it really does capture the spirit of just fun Mario shit. So there's a lot of platforming moments where he's running an obstacle course, or if him and Donkey Kong are teaming up to get to a destination, they're picking up power-ups on the way, shooting the fire flower and just going kind of crazy, jumping on things and blasting them, kicking shells. There's even Mario Kart moments on Rainbow Road. And it's all really fun, and I think it really captures that essence. And it's beautifully animated. The movie is shockingly gorgeous. They did not cut any costs on the quality of the animation here. That really impressed me as well. Everything in the film looks amazing. Now, the next thing I'm going to compliment might actually be something that some of you view as a problem, but I actually appreciated the pacing in that they didn't bother spending a whole lot of time fleshing out characters. The characters are super simple. They don't really get much depth. For example, Mario shows up to Mushroom Kingdom. He's a total fucking stranger. He's being hunted by toads. He's immediately this problem that they're trying to, fucking kill and burn at the stake. The demon has entered the battlefield. But then he happens to run into Peach at the castle, and she's like, oh, human like me. All right, great. You can join me in my cause here. And that's it. Then they immediately become best friends. They immediately hit it off. Fucking fireworks falling all over the place. They love each other immediately, and they never really bother exploring their relationship or even how they feel a lot of the time. It's just very surface level, and I like that because I've never played a Mario game for the story. I don't think there's many people in the world who have. It's all just about fun. So the film just being pretty short and very focused on action and platforming and Mario references and fights and fucking karting, I think is for the best, as opposed to bothering with this, 20-minute scene building up, Mario, his dad being disappointed in him, which is a plot point, but it's not something they harp on. It's something he mentions one time and then it's oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe your dad's right. Maybe you are a disappointment. And oh, no, I'm not. Let's drop it. And then they drop it and they don't bother really getting deep into it. And that's good. You have these little sprinkled in moments of character development, but nothing too heavy-handed because the film didn't need it. That wasn't the primary focus. So for a lot of people, I do think that'll be a complaint. For me, I actually preferred it. Because, I wasn't going to this movie for some kind of wild narrative that was going to have me tearing up. I just wanted something fun. And that's exactly what they delivered. Also, hats off to the music. It was really nice seeing some of the most famous, iconic Mario tunes come to life in this film and even fit in different ways. Was very fun. But this is actually something I heard Chris Stuckman mention. This rubbed me the wrong way as well. There's a lot of moments of 80s rock in here for some reason, which makes no sense. Fucking AC/DC Thunderstruck playing out of nowhere, or them running around to Beastie Boys. I don't know what the thought process was there. It really doesn't work at all. Even if you're a huge fan of those songs, seeing them in this movie, it's oh, that's not hype. That's just fucking weird. Almost feels like watching some kind of YouTube AMV where they try and make a song like that fit the atmosphere, and in this one it just didn't work successfully. But when they actually have the Mario music that they've composed in different ways, it works very well. So they should have just sidelined that whole 80s rock thing they toyed around with here. That probably shouldn't have made the final cut. But yeah, anyway, I just really don't have a whole lot of complaints about the film at all. Plugging Super Mario Bros. Movie into the Moist Meter, I'm going to give it a nice 80%. I think it's a lot of fun, and that's all you should really expect going into it. It's nothing amazing, it's nothing that's going to blow you away, but you're going to have a fun time watching the film, and it really does feel like watching the game come to life. So I think they did a great job with it, and I'm hopeful that they'll continue to do this with other property. Most of you know, we started our own comic book series called Godslap. Everyone who's read Godslap so far has unanimously agreed that it's the best comic ever produced, and Godslap is well on its way to becoming the biggest name in all of comics, overthrowing Marvel within the next 5 years, according to recent scientific projections that I'm pulling out of my ass. It's a passion project created by myself, Jackson, Danny, and Matt, and we brought in an industry veteran named Aubrey Sitterson to help write it with us, and we're extremely proud of what we've created. Issue 1 and 2 are already out, and Issue 3 came out today, as of right now. Issue 3 is available at godslapbook.com, and per usual, this is the standard cover, but we also have 2 limited edition variants, which will only exist until they're sold out, and then they'll never be reprinted. So they're available at godslapbook.com.
This episode of Moist Meter brought to you by Godslap Issue 2. Go to godslapbook.com to order your copy now.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at Chainsaw Man. This anime had more hype around it than if they announced a sequel to the Bible. Everything about anime this season was geared towards how great Chainsaw Man was going to be. I couldn't stop hearing about it. People keep recommending it, and it was being animated by Mappa, so all of these things put together into a beautiful stew was a recipe for hype. So I went into this show with very high expectations, and I'm happy to say I wasn't disappointed at all. The show's just really good. Now, the plot isn't anything super unique or special. It's a very simple, very standard storyline. There's devils out there, and there's people that hunt them. So we follow the devil hunters. Our protagonist has fused with the chainsaw devil, so he's got a dangly little ripcord on his chest, and when he's ready to, beat and eat some ass, he yanks the ripcord and has chainsaws shoot out of his arm and out of his head, and then he just absolutely gores everything around him. The story isn't anything incredible, but the characters are really fun. It's just unapologetically goofy. For example, the main character, Dingy, is just this extremely horny kid whose main motivation is squeezing tits for a long time, and then he gets his first kiss, but the girl that kissed him pukes in his mouth. Like, it's not afraid to be over the top and silly, but also self-aware. And this show has spawned a hornier community on Twitter than Genshin Impact. I swear to God, this show must have changed people's entire lives, because there are so many accounts that are dedicated to just talking about who they want to fuck and why they're their favorite girl and this and that. Like, it's a full-time job for some of these people to thirst over the anime characters in this one. But of course, the main selling point of Chainsaw Man has always been, as I understand it, its action, which is brought to life beautifully by Mappa. Mappa has done so much work over the last couple of years. They've said yes to like every anime project imaginable. Like, if there's been even whispers of a manga being adapted into an anime or a new season of an anime needing another studio, it's always Mappa that raises their hands to do the work. They're like the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They can't turn down any roles, but unlike The Rock, every role Mappa takes is a fucking hit. Like, they only make bangers. They've done so many anime over the last couple of years. I don't know how they haven't spread themselves out too thin and had the quality, suffer for it. But somehow they're able to keep up an incredibly high level of quality, the best in the industry oftentimes. And all that talent's put on full display with Chainsaw Man. The action is amazing. Every time there's a fight, it's over the top, it's gory, and it's so great. And it goes hard. It goes so fucking hard. I love that the main way of fighting for people that aren't the main character, Dingy, is through contracts with devils. So a lot of the devil hunters, well, all of them, have contracts where they can use other devils' powers. So one of the devil hunters has a contract with a ghost devil where she has a little ghost arm that she can use to strangle and blast people. There's a cursed devil that another main character uses. It's a really fun way of fighting that keeps it fresh, where everyone has very unique ways of approaching combat. And they spared no expense when it came to the animation. They didn't take any cheap ways out. This is very clearly a lot of work going into it to make it look the best that it can, and it really pays off. The show is just great. I don't have any major complaints about it. I have like a couple minor nitpicks, but none of it's like important or detrimental to the overall show. I think oftentimes it gets lost in its own horniness with its main character, so sometimes that gets a bit grating. But it's never to a point where I don't like the character or anyone around him. And it's one of the few anime where the humor sometimes lands for me. Oftentimes when anime tries humor, it doesn't really make me laugh. But I actually did have a couple giggles throughout Chainsaw Man, so that was a pleasant surprise and pretty refreshing. It just doesn't really fall into like anything I expected from a mainstream anime. Of course it has tons of cliches and tons of tropes, but it never like overuses it or has it overstay its welcome. Everything in this show is mainly geared as a vessel towards more over-the-top and fucking beautiful action, and I really just appreciated that. Now, there's only 12 episodes of this season, which is a little disappointing because shows like Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, both of which had comparable levels of animation quality, as well as very similar levels of hype, both of those had 24 and 26 episode long seasons. Season 1 of Demon Slayer was 26 episodes, Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen was 24, and it was able to hold this intensity, like this full fucking nuts to butts action and jaw-dropping animation for a long time, whereas Chainsaw Man's very bite-sized, like it's giving you an appetizer. So I'm hoping that it can continue this level of quality. I hope it doesn't like fall off and, suck shit, because that'd be tragic. But yeah, it is just a little underwhelming that it's such a short season. I would have liked more episodes because it's just so good, and I would have really liked more time to get drawn into the entire universe and see more of it. But it's still extremely good. Plugging it in the Moist Meter, I'm going to be giving it a 90%. I do highly recommend it, especially if you like shows like Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. So yeah, lived up to the hype, so I was satisfied. That's about it. See ya. Godslap is a comic book series we've been working on for a couple years now. It's a hyper-violent, over-the-top sci-fi story about the beauty and destruction that slaps can cause. Issue 2 is out right now. It'd make a wonderful Christmas gift, so make sure to check it out at godslapbook.com. Right now we also have 3 variant covers that are in stock, but the second those sell out, those variant covers will never be restocked, so definitely make sure to pick up a copy today.
Initiating moisture.
If you're looking at me and thinking to yourself, damn, looks like Charlie hasn't slept in over 24 hours, you'd be absolutely right. And since I couldn't sleep, I decided why not watch the entire Cyberpunk anime that just dropped, Cyberpunk Edgerunners. So Cyberpunk Edgerunners is a new anime set in the Cyberpunk universe, and I don't need an implant to read your mind. You're probably wondering if it's as disappointing as the game was, and the answer is an absolute fuck no. The anime slaps so hard. Let's just rip this band-aid off now. We all know that Cyberpunk released in a pretty shitty state. There were more bugs in that game than there is in a frat house trash can. And it suffered. It was a very disappointing launch, probably one of the most disappointing launches in recent memory. I understand they've been addressing it and making it better over time, and I think that's great. I haven't gone back to it. I just can't bring myself to it. It's painful. Like getting a brain dance from a goddamn garbage truck. I really can't see myself going back to the game, but I'm happy they didn't just abandon it in an unacceptable state. But anyway, this anime is set in that universe, and as I understand it, is actually canon to that universe. And I think that's great, because Cyberpunk, even with all its flaws, had an amazing setting, and I'm super glad we get to explore more of it here with Edgerunner. It is so good. Now, it's not perfect, nothing ever is, unless of course it's a Brendan Fraser movie, but this show goes so hard, just non-stop, full throttle, nuts to butts. It's done by Studio Trigger, and I think it is probably their best work so far. It is breathtaking, just a gorgeous, beautiful show. A lot of passion went into this, and it really paid off. They went fucking turbo mode on this one. They dialed this shit up to the next level. I was blown away by it. I think everything fit super well. I even got similar vibes in this show as I did to Redline, which I think is one of the best animated movies ever made. There's just moments in this show where I was like, damn, I feel like I'm watching Redline again for the first time, which is just an amazing feeling. One of the best feelings a human being can experience, true euphoria. When you watch Redline, it becomes like the proudest moment of your life, up there with like graduating college or getting married. It's just such a good movie. Highly recommend checking it out, but I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, there were times in this show where I was like, wow, they're up there with some of the best when it comes to animation, especially when it comes to the action. They didn't pull any punches. It's hyper violent, super gory, over the top. Everyone like blows up. There's ribs flying. There's intestines going all over the place. Intestines flying around as poop's falling out the back end. You know, like it goes hard. It doesn't hold anything back, and I love that shit. That hyper-violent action is always just a guilty pleasure of mine. It leads to really goofy, over-the-top moments that I think are just always fun, and they do it wonderfully here. And since it's set in the Cyberpunk universe, the action's pretty creative since everyone's got all kinds of implants and all kinds of crazy cybernetic augments that let them do wild shit. So it's always flashy and it's always great. The action shines, and really everything shines here because they clearly put a lot of work into every little excruciating detail of this universe. I can't praise the visuals enough here. But now let me briefly pop this show's dick out of my mouth. This is where I have a few complaints. It's story and writing. I don't think the story's bad by any means. In fact, I actually really like the story and the direction. But I feel like there was a lot they wanted to tell and only a short time to tell it. It's a 10-episode series, which is pretty normal length, but I really feel like they wanted something bigger, so they condensed all of these massive story beats into really small chunks. So, for example, in episode 1, we learn a lot of information about the main character and his relationship to his mom. But we learn all of that information through like maybe 2 minutes of just exposition dump. Like constantly. So it leads to a lot of things just kind of falling flat because they got there so quickly without really building up to these things. I'm not going to give spoilers, so I'm not going to go too deep into examples, but I wanted to just highlight the character's relationship to his mother right away because so much happens in such a short amount of time in just episode 1 that it's hard to really care. You know, you just kind of brush it off like, oh, well, I really didn't care at all because they didn't make me care. And there's just times where the writing's kind of silly, where they're having a conversation that's just so stiff, like, Mom, I don't really want to go to school. She's like, you know I want you to go to school for a better life. It's why I'm working so hard for you, David. It's why I'm working these jobs to put money on the table to send you to that very prestigious academy. And it's why I'm never home, David. It's why you never see me at home, because you and I, we're not bonding enough because I'm busy working for you. You know, it's just like kind of that old cliche. It's just, I don't know, they hit you so quickly over the head with a lot of exposition that you just kind of roll your eyes at some of the writing. But overall, I still think it's good. Like, the characters, I think, are well written as they develop throughout the 10 episodes, but they just try and do so much, and they do it a little too fast, in my opinion. It's not a huge problem or anything, it's not a deal breaker, it doesn't ruin the show or anything, and it doesn't even really hold it back. It's not that detrimental or anything, but it's something that just kind of stood out as a bit weaker than the rest of the components. You know, the visuals are on another level. They're popping off hard as fuck, and the soundtrack is always boner jams. The soundtrack is really good, and that's something you'll notice right away in episode 1. Like, as they're just doing things, like, even just driving in the car, like with this conversation I was talking about, there's like a backing track to it, which is just like an actually great song that's lightly playing in the background, and it just adds a lot to the ambiance of the whole world. I really appreciated that. I think they did a great job with their music choice here. So yeah, overall, the show's amazing. Plugging into the Moist Meter, I'm giving Cyberpunk Edgerunners a 90%. Really, the biggest flaw with the show is it had too much for too little time. I want more from it. Like, I'm super invested in the universe now thanks to the show, and I would have liked to see it develop more across a longer runtime, like maybe 2 seasons to reach the conclusion that it reaches in the show here, instead of just have it be such a speed run almost. But regardless, the show is absolutely fucking fantastic. I think they did a great job with it, and yeah, that's really about it. See ya.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at Invincible. I knew nothing about this show or the comics that it was based on. I initially thought this was a superhero cartoon for kids because it reminded me of something you'd see on Nickelodeon back in the day on Saturday mornings or some shit like that. I thought it was just a simple show to capitalize off superhero hysteria, just a little Weenie Hut Jr. show for your children to enjoy, but I couldn't have been more wrong. This show absolutely slaps, and it is far cry from for kids. This is a very dark show, and they say fuck, and it's extremely gory, like to a degree that I haven't seen that often in cartoons. And I don't like to make this comparison, but just to kind of give you a general gist of it, it is a little similar to The Boys in its brutality of showing how some of these superpowers would actually work on a real body. So you'll see people fucking blowing up, their head will get slammed in the ground, like brain matter will splatter all over the place, they'll shit their pants, and like fucking shit particles will blast against their trousers, and it's pretty graphic, which is surprising, because like I said, I watched episode 1 fully under the impression that this was a kid's cartoon. I didn't know shit about Invincible. And really, for like the first 25-30 minutes, I was still like, yeah, you know, this is kind of fun. It's definitely for a younger audience, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just this kid, he's in high school, you know, he's going through puberty, he's learning how his penis works and why it gets hard, he's got these hormones going on, and maybe he'll get superpowers. Nothing too over the top and never seen before. Kind of reminded me of like some early Teen Titans shit a little bit. And then it gets to the end of episode 1, like the last 15 minutes, and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck was that? After episode 1's conclusion, I was hooked. And I was so surprised by what I watched there. And I just really fell in love with the show. I think Omni-Man is an incredibly interesting character. I'm not going to spoil anything, of course. But Omni-Man has a lot of depth to his character. The show tackles some dark shit, and it's not afraid to show you some brutal violence. It doesn't pull any punches there. There's a scene pretty early on, you know, the world's being invaded, we need the superheroes to save us, and Invincible's just learning how to use his powers a little bit, and there's an old lady in trouble. Standard superhero shit. So Invincible going to save the day and be the hero he's born to be. He picks up the old lady, but since he doesn't have his powers totally under control, he just completely fucking folds her like a piece of paper, breaks every bone in her body, fucking blasting blood out of her pores. It's like a frat douchebag that took a beer can and busted it on his forehead, but with a full human being. And then he's like, oh my god, what have I done? And he takes her to the hospital trying to save this mangled corpse of a person that he inflicted, you know, caused. It's wild. Like, it's actually wild. The writing in the show is so good. None of the characters are flat. I find all of the characters to be pretty well-rounded and interesting. I just think Omni-Man really shines in that department. I really enjoy the entire Invincible universe. It's able to keep you hooked, and it's able to be more than just what you see on Earth. There's constant hints of bigger things in the universe out there, and I can't wait to see where they go with that. It's a show that it seems to me like it has so many things it wants to show you, and it's only giving you the smallest side boob preview. You're only seeing like a little bit of the areola and not even getting the full package with the first season here. It's just setting these huge things up. But even doing that with just an appetizer, it was so good. Easily the most impressive thing about Invincible, besides its writing and its narrative, is its animation. Its animation is absolutely incredible. There is obvious CGI at points, and sometimes it is a bit janky a little towards the end, but that's only for like some background stuff. That's not a big deal. But when it comes to a fight, it's beautiful. It is so fluid. In anime, and I don't mean to be blasphemous and call out anime here, but in anime, if you watch a fight scene in some of the big ones, the fight scene will consist of like maybe 2 attacks. Like, you know, I'm using this spell, yeah, oh, I got hit by this spell, and now we'll talk for a couple minutes before the next attack is thrown. And like an entire anime fight scene can be broken down into like maybe 4 attacks being thrown in total across the entire fight. In Invincible, you get like fucking 5 minutes of straight fighting where it doesn't stop. You know, Omni-Man's fighting something and he's fighting that shit for minutes constantly, and it's so fluid. It's not just like a still image that they shake, or it's not just him throwing a punch, it freezes and then you see the thing react where it doesn't really connect. It zooms it out and you get to see every single punch being thrown, all of the action where it's not close up and disorienting. You get to see the impact, and they do a great job of selling how strong the characters are. Like a punch, you can like feel the fucking impact in the show. Like Omni-Man will deliver like a One Punch Man serious blow, and then whoever he threw it at will fly through a building, fly through buses and cars, and then like blow up half the city. Like, it is huge. And like in most shows when that happens, you know, you're like, wow, people definitely died during that, but they clearly don't show it because it's a superhero show, so they might as well just not exist. Like the citizens of the city, it might as well just be empty. In Invincible, you fucking see people dying during that. So like when this person is flying through the air and they crash through a building or like a train or something, you'll see like bodies just fucking burst into blood clouds and mist, be split in half with guts and tits flying all over the place, bowels hanging off of things. It's like you see the devastation and what can happen with this kind of fight in a populated area. You see all kinds of people getting crushed by falling debris. You know, if a car gets, you know, hit, you'll see the driver blast through the window and die, get cut up by the glass. Like, it's actually extremely intense. The action is on a whole different level. It's probably not what you're used to seeing because it never stops to like just break down a narrative. They're not like fighting and he'll like throw a punch, the guy reacts to the punch, he's like, oh, I can't believe you've done this, well, I had to do this because of this. He'll throw the punch and then immediately follow it up. You know, Omni-Man will hit someone against the ground, they'll bounce off the ground, and while they're flying up in the air off the momentum from hitting the ground, he'll grab their leg, fucking slam them on the ground again, then he'll fly up even higher, and then he'll chase him up. Like, the fights don't stop. The fights never stop. When there's an action scene, you can expect it to just be full throttle fighting without just stopping to explain something, and there's never any cheating in its action where they just shaky cam a still image. It is fluid as fuck. The action is really, really cool in Invincible. I have nothing negative to say about the show. I think Invincible is one of those must-watch cartoons. It is hard to watch Invincible and not compare someone like Omni-Man to someone like From the Boys without getting into any spoilers. So I just highly recommend the show. I went in there with no expectations, and in fact under the false pretense that it was a kid's show, and was blown away. I think the show is something very special, especially when superhero shit is so boring and done to death. I think Invincible does something very unique. I give Invincible extremely high marks. I give it a 95%. I feel bad because I've been rating things so high recently, but like shit's been good. Like a lot of the shit that's been coming out has been extremely good. I don't know what's been going on. Like, we had years of just straight stinkers constantly, and now all of a sudden we're getting some extremely high quality productions like Invincible. I highly recommend it. I think it's great. That's it. See ya.
Initiating moisture.
I'm doing it again, baby. I'm dropping my pants and I'm hitting you with the truth. It's a moist meter for a show that's still going on. This is only the second time I've done it. The first time was for The Promised Neverland due to disappointment and disgust with season 2. This time I'm doing it for Jujutsu Kaisen, and for a totally opposite reason. I am so fucking blown away by how enjoyable Jujutsu Kaisen is that I just want to do the moist meter now, so that way you can watch the show and catch up before it ends in a couple weeks. This show is extraordinary. I would argue that this is the best shonen can get. It is every episode better than the last. The action is absolutely beautiful. The visuals in this show are outstanding. You know, a lot of times when there's action in a show, it'll typically be like 2 frames of action and then just the camera moving around or they stop to talk. In Jujutsu Kaisen, you'll get 30, 45 seconds, minute, 2 minutes of just pure high-octane, nuts-to-butts action, full throttle. It never slows down when there's a fight, and there's so many fights. Like, imagine Demon Slayer episode 19, but stretched across the entire show. Like, every single episode of Jujutsu Kaisen is just as good as Demon Slayer's episode 19, which fucking blew up Twitter when that episode aired. Demon Slayer is still incredible, still a huge fan, but I would say Jujutsu Kaisen in the action department is even better. And now, I'm not just a fucking caveman who likes to see, you know, fists flying and titties all over the place. I can also appreciate good characters, which Jujutsu Kaisen has. Now, they're not the deepest characters. I don't want anyone to be misled here. You're not going to go in there, hear a character's backstory, get a tear in your eye, and then have, like, a moment of self-reflection on your own life. It's not, like, the most thought-provoking, deep shit. But the characters are really fucking cool. Every character is so badass. They each have their own cursed energy techniques and all this shit. In a nutshell, the show is about curses and the people that fight curses. And the users of cursed energy all have their own unique traits, and they're all fucking cool. Like, one of the characters is a goddamn panda that just beats ass, has multiple attacking forms. It's like some shit out of Tekken. It's just every character is so fucking cool. My favorite character is Todo, who's just this massive, muscular meatball monster man who just loves women with a big ass, and he believes that any man that likes tall women with a big ass are like his best friend. And he's just fucking cool. Like, everything in this show, like, I don't know how else to describe it. Mappa is the studio behind the animation, and they've just done an incredible job of making every single aspect of the visuals just incredible. Every single fucking frame is a masterpiece in Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know how they do it, because they're not even, like, compensating with CGI, or if they are, it's not noticeable. I haven't noticed any fucking CGI whatsoever. It's crazy what they're doing with Jujutsu Kaisen. If you haven't started it yet, you absolutely should. If you like action or shonen, it's super good. I really do think it's as good as shonen can be. Every episode has some crazy fucking battle in it, it feels like. There's only like a couple episodes I can even recall where there wasn't a huge fight that broke out in there. I mean, it's so good. Like, it's so fucking good. Again, I don't want anyone to go in there expecting some kind of narrative masterpiece that's gonna have you, like, fucking blown back in your chair, hanging on every word and every breath. But the story's fine and the pacing is good enough where it just gives many excuses to have a ton of fucking characters encounter each other and just put dick in ass and go full on. And so I have no problems with the narrative. I've seen a lot of people complain about it, how it's, like, simple and predictable. But who gives a fuck? Like, it doesn't matter if it's simple and predictable if it's executed well, which I think it is. And it allows so much cool shit to happen. Like, there's nothing I dislike about Jujutsu Kaisen at all. It's also complemented by a really good score. I think the soundtrack to the show is really fucking hype. Anytime there's anything going on, you've got, like, this beautiful crescendo that makes me want to stand up and start lifting weights to be like Todo. Like, I mean, it's cool. Like, I really can't think of any other ways to describe this that don't make me sound like a middle school boy hitting puberty just talking about how something's dope, but it really just is. It's something you can sit back and just be super entertained by. So I'm just going to plug Jujutsu Kaisen into the moist meter now. I'm giving it a 90%. Now, the only reason I'm not giving it a 95%, which I've explained in the past, I usually save 95% for shows I think really innovated or changed something in their genre. I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen has done anything like that, but I genuinely think it is as good as shonen can be without completely reinventing the condom of the genre. I really think that Jujutsu Kaisen reaches the highest possible level of the genre. I think it is so fucking good, and I have nothing but praise for the show. I totally agree with it winning Anime of the Year. because it deserved it. It is something special, and I wanted to make this Moist Meter before it ends because I really think all of you who haven't seen it should give it a try. I'm often asked, like, what anime would I recommend to someone that either hasn't watched anime or just fucking hates cartoons in general. First of all, I don't know why you'd even ask me for an anime if you just fucking hate animation, but I get that question a lot anyway. This would definitely be one of the shows I'd recommend. This is a show I feel like anyone can enjoy, even if you don't like anime, don't like cartoons. It is just so good that I think regardless of your taste, you would probably find something to like about the show. So I really think Jujutsu Kaisen is something wonderful, and I'd highly recommend it. Now let's talk about Crunchyroll. As I've mentioned multiple times in the past, Crunchyroll is pretty much where I watch all of my anime. Even the more obscure shit I can find on Crunchyroll, they pretty much have the majority of anime that you can possibly think of, dating back to like prehistoric era of animation. So Crunchyroll just has exactly what you're looking for most likely, and it comes in a beautiful 1080p HD ad-free when using Crunchyroll Premium. The episodes are professionally subtitled. They also drop up to, like, as soon as an hour after they air in Japan via the simulcast. You can access them on all devices, Xbox, PlayStation, Roku, Android, and you can just watch so much anime so conveniently in good quality without having to worry about like inaccurate subtitles or it looking like dog shit. Crunchyroll just has the best anime and the best quality, so if you're interested in trying Crunchyroll, you can get Crunchyroll ad-free for 14 days by signing up at crunchyroll.com/penguinz0 or clicking the link in the description below. That's Crunchyroll ad-free for 14 days at crunchyroll.com/penguinz0 or clicking the link below. That's it. See ya.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're looking at Soul, a new Pixar animation. I guess not that new though. I'm very tardy to the party on tackling this bad boy here. Even though I saw the movie a couple days after it came out, I just didn't make a Moist Meter on it because I didn't have a whole lot to say about it. It's a good movie, a very good movie, but everything I like about the movie is the same shit I like about every Pixar movie. I don't think it does anything different or special. It's a very standard good Pixar movie, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I keep getting asked to talk about Soul since, as I said on stream, I did see it. It's just, I mean, shit. Everything I'm going to say about Soul that I liked, I've said about, like, every other Pixar movie for the last couple of years. I feel like Pixar just has a formula at this point that they're very good at, but at the same time, it's not, like, trying to do, like, new things or, like, push the boundaries. Even the messages in a lot of these are still the same. This one I think is just equally as good as the other ones. I don't think it's better or worse or different from the other great Pixar movies over the last few years. Voice acting is great, the visuals are great, the music is great. In this movie I do like the music a lot though, since the main character is a jazz pianist, and I think when he's ripping ass on that piano it feels fucking wonderful to listen to. Like, that man is going in slapping on the keys, and that's great. Everything about it is good. The only thing I'd say is a little weak is the main villain who chases the main character from like the purgatory in between worlds dimension, the gamer zone, back to the corporeal realm after the main character finds a way to cheat the system. By cheating the system, he gets the system's muscle after him, which is like this tiny little rat thing that is constantly like tracking him down. But he's not really much of a threat at any point. Like, he just doesn't really pull anything off, and even when he does at the very end, it only lasts for a couple of seconds. So I just thought, like, as far as a villain goes, it was kind of weak. Not that the movie really even needed a central villain or anything, since the main conflict was the body switching thing that happens, and learning more about his life and just kind of experiencing things differently. So it's not like a huge deal that the villain was kind of dog shit. But other than that, yeah, everything else was top notch. I really liked the moments where the main character was coming to terms with being more confident and realizing how he needs to like really break out of his shell and, you know, give people a piece of his mind. I was half expecting a montage where he goes up to like school bullies and starts beating their ass or something, just like pounding their fucking teeth in, because he's the new and improved main character now. I just really, I liked it, but again, I don't have a whole ton to say about it without just repeating myself from other Pixar Moist Meters that we've done in the past, so I'll just sum it up again by saying Soul is another high-quality Pixar movie, as you would expect. When you see a Pixar movie or know that a Pixar movie is coming out, you can feel assured, sleep easy at night, knowing that Santa Claus is bringing you a good movie, a good animation. Pixar doesn't really make anything less than great. Sometimes they have some that are better or worse than others, but for the last few years, mainly they've all been pretty fucking good. So, plugging Soul into the Moist Meter, I'm giving this an 85%. Another good Pixar movie in their impressive catalog of bangers and just another enjoyable movie. I don't think it's going to be a Pixar movie that people look back on and be like, that's my favorite Pixar movie. But it is going to be one where people are like, yeah, I want to watch it again. Yeah, that was a really good movie. And I think that's what matters. I don't think it needs to really go out there and reinvent the condom and completely change the Pixar formula when it clearly works and it's still very fun. So yeah, that's about it. Recently, I've been hitting the weights extremely hard, trying to put on extra muscle, looking for at least 100 more pounds of muscle on this 5'6" frame, and in doing so, I've been using Raycons pretty much daily, so that way I don't have a wire dangling in front of me when I'm lifting weights. As I've talked about numerous times now, I think a high-quality pair of wireless earbuds are extremely important, and Raycon offer an incredible one. The Everyday E25 are still their best model yet, giving you 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, a compact design, comfortable noise-isolating fit, super simple to set up, super quick to set up. They have the same amazing quality that you're used to from other premium audio brands, but at half the price. If you're interested in trying Raycon for yourself, you can go to buyraycon.com/moist to get 15% off your Raycon purchase, or just click the link in the description below. That's buyraycon.com/moist for 15% off. That's it. See ya.
This episode was brought to you by Keeps.
Initiating moisture.
It's been a long time since a movie's come out now. I almost don't know what it feels like to watch a new movie anymore, but luckily something did come out. The new Scooby-Doo animated movie called Scoob. It's on demand, so I checked that shit out today. And I really don't have anything super negative to say about it. I'll go over things in a second, but I want to start by saying the fucking reviews for this movie are wild. I decided to look up Scoob reviews because half of these movie critics haven't had anything to report on in months. I didn't even know if they remembered what movies were like anymore. They've been too busy whining on Twitter every other day. So I decided to see what they had to say about it, and for a lot of critics it's not getting glowing reviews or anything, but a few of them are so baffling to me. For example, there's one woman, mid-30s, I'm not going to say her name or publication because I don't want people to harass her, but she was shitting all over the movie because it was for kids, and it wasn't serious enough for her tastes. Which I think is a stupid fucking take. Like, no shit, it's for kids. It's Scooby fucking Doo. What do you want them to do? Go back in time and solve the Black Dahlia murder? Like, what are you expecting? The mystery gang to be fighting during Vietnam or going over the horrors of war and war crimes? I just don't understand the take. She also said that the movie has a convoluted origin story for Scooby-Doo. There's like a 10-minute origin story that's basically just Scooby-Doo was a abandoned pup that was found by Shaggy, who was a lonely kid, and now they're friends. And she was like, it's the most complicated thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like, for some reason, as movie critics, she's not the only one, as movie critics seem to be getting older, they seem to be more resentful towards the younger generation and things that are geared towards kids. They fucking hate kids now because of the internet. I mean, a lot of people are mad that the movie's about friendship. Like, how sad can you be to be mad at a kid's movie for talking about friendship? Yeah, the movie is all about friendship, and now these people are upset about it because they don't know what a human connection is anymore, the good things that come from it. I don't know. It's weird. It's not a bad movie. It is entirely for kids, though. If you're going in, like, my age, 25 years old, or older than, like, 12 years old, yeah, it's just gonna be a cute little animation. It's not gonna be something thought-provoking that's gonna challenge your ideas of the world. It's just gonna be something enjoyable, or if you have a son, daughter, niece, nephew, something like that, something you can watch with them and not be totally bored by. I grew up watching the old Scooby-Doo, so I knew exactly what to expect and kind of the tone it was going to have, and it hit all of those similar beats, but it goes in a different direction. Instead of just unmasking fake ghouls and goblins and hauntings, in the Scoob movie, they actually do tackle some real supernatural stuff, and I think it's an enjoyable take on Scooby-Doo. It's not the first time Scooby-Doo's ever done that. For example, one of the best Scooby-Doo movies, Zombie Island, had real monsters. So this isn't like new or innovative for Scooby-Doo itself. It's just a fun, decently animated movie. It's not the best animation. It's not up to like a Pixar level animation, but it's good. The only real complaints I have about the movie are I don't like them switching Matthew Lillard from the voice of Shaggy. I don't see why they did that. Matthew Lillard is an iconic Shaggy ever since those beautiful James Gunn live action movies, which were basically looking like porn parodies back then. I don't know why they just, ruin a good thing with Matthew Lillard as Shaggy, but they did. It's Will Forte, who doesn't do a bad job or anything. I just missed Matthew behind the helm. I also didn't really care for some of the animation at some points. It did seem like they kind of got into a rush. For instance, like Simon Cowell's in here a couple times as a cameo, and his character looks like a Nintendo 64 model. It just seems really out of place. It's not highly animated. It's like as stiff as Simon Cowell's face is in the real world. He just looks robotic instead of like a fluid animation of like crazy gestures and shit. So there's just certain moments in here that seem out of place and rushed, but there's nothing bad about the movie. Yeah, the jokes aren't for people that are older than 12. They fucking dab in the movie. They have all of these songs that kids connect to. There's a big emphasis on social media, social trends, and hashtags, and that always on your phone stuff. It's very much for kids. And I don't know why that's all of a sudden a bad thing to a lot of these movie critics. By no definitions is this movie like as shitty as a lot of these critics are saying it is, nor does it really do a disservice to the original Scooby-Doo because it pretty much hits all of the same beats. I mean, fuck, it even uses a lot of the same sound effects and stock effects that it did back in the day. I'm sure that's just kind of there as little Easter eggs, not as like an actual statement, but they're there, and they do it in similar fashion, and I don't think it's executed poorly. But yeah, this isn't a Pixar movie where, you know, with Pixar, they're movies that kids and adults can enjoy equally. This is a movie that adults can tolerate and appreciate in certain respects, but it is entirely geared towards children, a very young demographic. And I don't think that's something you should hold against the movie because it's not trying to appeal to adults, in my opinion, except for the occasional Easter egg here and there with some classic Scooby-Doo stuff. So, plugging Scoob into the Moist Meter, I'm giving it a 70%. It's a cute movie, cute message. It's not innovative. It's not trying to be innovative. It's just a fun little adventure that kids can enjoy. It goes all over the place, doing a whole bunch of different things. And yeah, there's really nothing wrong with it. But again, if you're an adult going into this movie, you're probably not going to be busting a gut laughing at the jokes or anything because they're really not made for you. And yeah, that's just about it.
We here at Moist Meter are super passionate about keeping hair on heads. That's why we recommend Keeps as the ultimate tool to achieving that full head of hair. Here's a fun fact for all of you. Did you know 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? But it doesn't have to be that way. With Keeps, you can get treated from home. You just visit a Keeps doctor online and get hair loss medication delivered right to your home. It's super easy, super convenient. And as I just said, you'll have an actual doctor looking at you and making sure that this is the medication that's suitable for you. If personal hair loss is something you've noticed recently, I recommend getting in there quick with Keeps because prevention is key. The sooner you get in there, the more hair you'll save. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/moist or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your order. That's keeps.com/moist.
Initiating moisture.
The nostalgia boner is flying high today. The new Invader Zim movie came out, Enter the Florpus. I was absolutely shocked when they announced there was going to be a new Invader Zim movie, and today I was equally as shocked to find out that no one gives a fuck about it. Initially, when it was revealed, people were going nuts, like, holy shit, Invader Zim, this is going to be incredible, wubba lubba dub dub, am I right? And then the movie drops, like, I think it was 2 days ago now, and I haven't heard shit about it. It's just been brushed under the condom pile. But I guess it's kind of par for the course, because that's kind of been Invader Zim's whole history. It was never Nickelodeon's flagship series. It felt like it always kind of rode the back of the school bus in the Nickelodeon catalog of cartoons. I loved it growing up. I thought the dark tone was really reminiscent of Courage the Cowardly Dog, which is my all-time favorite cartoon, so I was immediately drawn into it. But I could honestly tell you that I guarantee none of the people I grew up with ever even watched the show or heard of it. It wasn't an overly popular show, at least that's the impression that I got, and it only had 2 seasons. I'm surprised it even got 2 seasons. It developed a cult following, and now we got Enter the Florpus as kind of a soft reboot. It's not like Ed, Edd n Eddy, where their movie ended Ed, Edd n Eddy, put a nice little bow on it and wrapped it up. Enter the Florpus just feels like a big Invader Zim special that could have aired the day after season 2 finished. It's incredible. They captured the exact same style and tone of the original run. It seems like just this beautiful passion project that was 15 years in the making, and I really enjoyed it. The only difference between Enter the Florpus and the original Invader Zim run is artistically it's a bit different. The more modern style, obviously it's going to be more modern, but also they kind of brightened up the color palette. They also didn't make it as dark as the original series, and I don't think either of those things are a big deal, but most noticeably Gaz is really different than how she looked in the original run. And Into the Florpus, she looks like Tumblr fan art depiction of Gaz's original character design, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that's the most noticeably different compared to what we were used to seeing from Invader Zim, and that's not a complaint either. I'm just saying that's the only big difference that separates this from what the original run looked like and sounded like. I honestly think that this movie is a reminder of just how timeless cartoons are. Everything, I think, in Into the Florpus works well. I love the story, the characters, everything, and maybe it's just because it is so nostalgic to me. Maybe coming in fresh, a virgin who hasn't seen Invader Zim, maybe you won't like it as much, and it's a very loud movie because the show was very loud. All the characters really animate and scream their lines, and I think that fits super well into modern comedy on the internet anyway, since apparently on the internet loud ear rape equals comedy anyway. Invader Zim at least does it well, and I've always appreciated that about it, even though it's not exactly the style of comedy that I find enjoyable. I really like it in the context of the universe Invader Zim builds up, and it's just seeing these characters come back and be so intact is amazing to me. Hey Arnold recently concluded their whole series and with a movie, and I liked it, but it really just didn't feel the same. It didn't have the same tone. It really felt a bit disjointed, whereas Invader Zim feels like it still flowed right out of the same creative studio, the same creative mind. The entire team, the boys got back together and finished, well, they didn't finish Invader Zim, but they brought more Invader Zim to the table. And I really appreciate that, especially when most of these reboots, remakes, the, spiritual successors are all kind of just soulish cash-ins on a franchise's goodwill with people that want more of it. So they just very no foreplay, no passion, just milking the tits of the cow, the last little drop, nickel and dime of the people who appreciated the franchise, soulless remakes like The Lion King, fucking shameless shit that adds nothing, it's just there to capitalize on the name. Invader Zim Into the Florpus is not that at all. This feels like Jonan had a story he wanted to tell, he wanted to bring the characters back, and he knew he could do a good job of it, and he does. I think it's a very fun movie, I think it's very fun to look at, and it really is. Cartoons, I feel, are timeless. You can watch a cartoon from the 90s or early 2000s and still get the same enjoyment out of it today as you did back then, and Into the Florpus just kind of reminds me of that. So plugging this into the moist meter, I'll give Invader Zim Into the Florpus a 90%. I think for anyone that grew up around the time the show was airing or grew up with hand-drawn cartoons in the first place, you will absolutely love it. It is the best of 2D hand-drawn, the best of Invader Zim. It's just this beautifully nostalgic experience from start to finish. It's well written, the characters are great, the animation is fucking phenomenal. It's a lot of fun to watch. That being said, I don't know if a younger audience would resonate with Invader Zim, considering they're probably not even used to seeing 2D shit anymore. Most of what the younger generation consumes, I imagine, is like finger family shit, 5 little monkeys shitting on the bed, Sheriff Woody came in and shit on their head, and, that bad YouTube kid shit. Nickelodeon these days is mainly horrible 3D animation stuff as well, really lazy stuff, so I don't even know if they'd like it. But I think if you grew up with it, it's definitely worth watching. It's a lot of fun. Even if you've never watched Zim, if you like 2D animation and cartoons in general, you'll also like it as well. I think it's just an extraordinarily well done movie. I loved it start to finish. It'd be nice if it did kickstart another Invader Zim season, though I'm pretty skeptical that would be the case. Hopefully it would, but we'll see. Anyway, it's a great fucking movie. And that's it. So yeah.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're looking at the new Toy Story 4, a movie I felt didn't need to be made. I honestly couldn't stand the marketing for it either. There was like fucking 50 little teaser trailers where the gang holds hands and falls, then like the 30-second clips of 1 or 2 jokes from Key and Peele. I didn't care for that, and it really struck me as just going to be a cash grab on the goodwill of the franchise. However, after seeing Toy Story 4, I absolutely fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it, start to finish. I think the strongest part of this movie is its humor. I don't know what's changed, but this is by far the best in terms of comedy in the series, and probably one of the best animated comedies I've seen since like Lego Batman, maybe. This might be even better. I don't know, the comedy really hit with me, and maybe it's just because I love Toy Story so much, but man, I fucking love some of the jokes they told in here. And Keanu Reeves' character, Mr. Kaboom, is the best sidekick character to be introduced into the franchise. Absolutely every scene with him in it is fucking great. An awesome character, and I love you, Keanu Reeves. You know that. If you're watching this, you already know I love you, Keanu. Please come shake my hand or something. I'll give you like an over-the-pants hand job if you want. Great movie, great character. The humor, it just lands every single time. Key and Peele, I thought were going to be annoying characters, even though I like them as actors. I thought they'd overplay their shtick, but they did really well. Their characters were really fun on screen. Their plush rush shit wasn't overused. It worked well. I really just enjoyed everything about this movie. Visually, it's Pixar. You know it's going to be fucking breathtaking, real top-notch shit. And it is. This one even more so than some of their other movies. They show you a lot of really cool scenes and scenery and shit like that. The villain is a really cool villain, not just like a comically evil one, a one that a lot of people could relate to. It's just, the whole movie kind of tugs on your heartstrings a little bit, but not as much as the previous entries. This one's a lot less large scale, a lot more character focused, and doesn't really get as sad or tear jerky as Toy Story 3, for example, but it definitely does have its emotional moments. I really like the way Woody's arc concludes, though I do have to say I don't really know for sure if this movie adds a lot to the characters we already know and love. They dumb Buzz Lightyear down quite a bit, which is fine because they make him more of a comedic character that still does cool shit and is still a good friend to Woody, but they do make him like significantly stupider than previous Buzz Lightyears, and that's not really a complaint. Just what I'm saying is I don't know if it really adds enough to the characters to justify coming back to the franchise after how great Toy Story 3 concluded. Absolutely loved that conclusion. A really touching one that I feel most people felt something during. This one doesn't have moments like that, but most people will probably relate a lot to the villain's struggles and stuff like that. It's a very humanized villain, not like a comically evil one or anything like that. The main new character introduced is Forky, made by Bonnie, and I really wasn't expecting to like this character, but I absolutely love this character. It was a really strong character that actually had some dark themes surrounding it, and I don't use dark in like the same way that people talk about shitty DC movies that attempt to be dark and gritty. I mean, like, the actual characters, it's kind of like a deep one, kind of on a different level than most characters in an animated children's movie, at least in my personal opinion. I was expecting some Frankenstein doodle bob thing, but I actually got a really enjoyable and pretty deep character that I really appreciated, so fuck yeah. Just an overall positive experience with this movie, and I just really enjoyed it. The only complaint that I have at all is I think the ending was a little bit rushed. You spend 20 years with these characters and then it all kind of ends in 3 minutes with the characters together. It just, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think it's just, most people will probably get the impression it was rushed as well. And that's kind of a shame, but it's still a very nice conclusion, very satisfying. It was nice to see Bo Peep come back. It's just a really enjoyable movie, and I'm glad it got made, even if it wasn't totally necessary or adds a whole lot to the lore. Also, I'm extremely fucking greasy right now. I can see that on the recording here, so I apologize for that. Let's just go ahead and plug this shit into the moist meter. I'm giving Toy Story 4 a fat 90%. A really good movie. A really, really good movie that I think concludes the Toy Story franchise. I'm not sure. I don't see how they could continue it from here, but you never really know. Super fucking good. That's it. See ya.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're looking at the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's very rare in 2018 that you'll find a Spider-Man animation without Spider-Man's dick in Elsa's mouth, but Sony has done just that. They made a brand new Spider-Man animation, and surprisingly, it is tied for the best animated movie I've ever seen in my life. It's tied with Redline. Turn the wrong way like a fucking idiot, but it's tied with Redline, which is my favorite animated movie ever made, and this is right up there with it. I might even say this is a better animated movie than Redline, and that shit right there is not something I say lightly. That's fucking blasphemy to me. Redline is nearly unmatched in terms of animation until now. This movie is so aesthetically pleasing and visually stunning. Everything is so stylized. I'm sure if Miles farted on screen, it'd come with like a kaboom comic book bubble flying out of his asshole, and it would look great. Every move in this movie is fucking fantastic to look at. Every action scene, every travel scene, everything is just so fucking beautiful. It's amazing. The visuals in this movie are unmatched. It is truly breathtaking. And it's got a nice little story. It's heartwarming with some emotional moments. It gets dark as well sometimes, and it brings some great new characters to the screen. You got fucking Nicolas Cage noir Spider-Man, Overwatch Diva Spider-Man, Porky Pig Spider-Man, Spider-Ham. They're all fucking cool little characters, albeit those characters aren't really explored or fleshed out or anything. They're just kind of there as comedic characters that kind of do some badass things occasionally, but they're not very important to the story. The main characters are Miles, Peter Parker, and Gwen, and they're great characters. There's no bad characters in this movie because they're all well written. The entire movie is super well written. The only thing I'd say in that department is some of the one-liners don't land. One of Spider-Man's big gimmick is the one-liners. So when you have fucking 50 spider people coming out of nowhere all doing one-liners, not all of them are going to work. It's to be expected. That's not a huge complaint or anything. It's hard to believe that the studio that made this is the same one that shit out the Emoji Movie. It's unreal. I can't even fucking imagine that. That would be like as if Lil Pump secretly wrote all of Mozart's material. It's such an incredible turnaround from the Emoji Movie. I just don't understand how the fuck they were capable of this greatness, but then also shit out the Emoji Movie. I'm happy it's been realized here, though, when we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because this shit is fucking incredible. It is an amazing movie. The soundtrack is something else I'd like to point out. I really enjoyed the soundtrack in this movie. The score fits super well in all the scenes when they interlace the action and shit with some music. It was really fun to watch. I also think most people will appreciate all the little Easter eggs that are thrown throughout the movie. A lot of little, tidbits of Spider-Man lore and shit, poking fun at itself at some points, poking fun at superhero shit at others. And of course, there's a Stan Lee cameo in here. Rest in peace, Mr. Stan Lee, Excelsior. He's in this bad boy, and he's got a really touching scene. And that was cute. And the whole movie's just pretty heartwarming overall with the messages and the story. It's a really fucking great movie. And I can't stress that enough. Probably the best animated movie I've ever seen. And I'm saying that right in front of Redline too. And it hurts. It fucking hurts. But the movie really is just that good. I do have a major complaint, however, and that is that Kingpin, his motivation, he's the main villain, and his motivation is just pretty shitty. His plan is pretty fucking abysmal. I'm not going to spoil anything, but even if Kingpin accomplished his plan without Spider-Man intervening, he would have still been fucked. He wanted to unfuck himself with his plan, but even if he did, he'd still fuck himself. It's hard to explain. I'm sure if you've seen the movie, you'll understand what I'm saying. But no matter what would have happened if Spider-Man didn't step in, Kingpin would have come out on the bottom. He would not have won. His plan just didn't work. His motivation was an emotional one. They did that well, but it just didn't make sense. It drove the plot. It led to a lot of spider people coming in, and that was great. But he was just a pretty weak villain in terms of his motivation. Very fun one to watch on screen, and there is that bit of emotion they gave to him, but like I said, his plan's just pretty shitty overall. Let's plug this shit into the moist meter. I'm giving Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse a 95%. This is probably one of the best superhero movies in general ever made, and honestly, probably the best animated movie ever made. Beating out Redline ever so fucking slightly. Just ever so slightly. If there's a Redline 2 coming, hands down that'll beat this one, but I don't think we're going to see a Redline 2, unfortunately. But this isn't here to cry about Redline. This is to praise the new Spider-Man movie because it's really fucking good. That's it. See ya. Welcome to a low-budget edition of the Moist Meter. Jackson's on an extended vacation, so the next 5 or 6 Moist Meters will be low quality like this because I can't edit like Jackson does. So it's going to be shot like a fucking home movie. I'm sorry about that, but let's get right into it. Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Teen Titans is a cartoon series I grew up on. I loved it. I've seen every episode multiple times, and as a kid it awakened something in me sexually because I was attracted to a couple of the female characters in the show. I'm not a fan of hentai these days, but maybe just because I didn't really follow through with that passion that I had as a kid to cartoon characters. Really, there's no telling, and I really wouldn't like to know, because if I did like hentai, I'd feel like such a fucking degenerate. Not insulting any of you out there, you hentai enthusiasts, just saying I personally would feel dirty if I liked cartoon character sex. Moving on from that, when Teen Titans Go first started airing on Cartoon Network, I gave it a very fair shake of the sauce bottle. I watched a lot of episodes, and I gave it like maybe 2 seasons, and I'd seen a lot of it, and I can say with certainty I think it sucks shitty stinky stuff, because it's a shitty stinky show. I don't like it. Really don't like Teen Titans Go. Nowadays, it's not even Cartoon Network that airs Teen Titans Go, it's just the Teen Titans Go network. That whole fucking channel is just Teen Titans Go now. I urge you, look at a Cartoon Network programming schedule for a day, and you will see almost nothing but Teen Titans Go. I don't like it. Now, that being said, I like this movie. I think this is a very good movie. I was hoping it'd be like Lego Batman, because that movie just caught me by surprise at how great it was. I'd never seen the Lego movie, but I went into Lego Batman and I loved it. And I was hoping this could capture that same magic. And it doesn't, but it kind of comes close. It's a mix of Lego Batman and shitty Teen Titans Go. It's very much more of a kids movie though, as opposed to Lego Batman, which was great for anyone of all ages. This is more geared towards kids, both in its plot and its jokes. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's still a lot to like here, even as an adult. It's a fine movie. It's clever sometimes. The plot's simple. Robin wants a Teen Titans movie because all the other superheroes have superhero movies. So the whole plot is basically trying to get them a movie, and all the jokes are centered around very meta shit, like making fun of DC, making fun of superhero movies in general. And that's fine. That works. That's always fun. I guess that's DC's newest thing, where they just make fun of all their shit and then keep producing shit. Like, they can clearly recognize they produce shitty shit, and yet they don't feel the need to improve. I think this is a conspiracy theorist coming out in me, but I think DC continues to pump out shit just so they can make fun of it in later productions. That's my theory, at least. But anyway, let's talk the positives here. There's some fucking zingers in here. There's some clever jokes, good writing. The animation is fucking beautiful. I don't really like the character design, but everything aside from the characters is breathtaking. The colors, gorgeous. The animation, flawless, fucking top notch. I love 2D animation, and I will always support anything that's 2D animated. I don't hate 3D or computer generated, but nothing can get your penis harder than some good old-fashioned, solid 2D animation, and this fucking nails it. And although the story's super cliche, as is the message, it's super heartwarming. I mean, it's just an uplifting type of movie with a positive message about, friendship and being yourself and shit, and that's always fine. That's always a nice thing. Let's talk about the negatives, though, because there is a lot to dislike about this movie. I can't fucking stand how much they overuse Starfire and Beast Boy's talking quips. The whole Beast Boy, who is we, the was, the was, is, bros, the was, briz, bro, and then Starfire, Robin, the friend, Robin, the friend, the was, the is, the was, the fucking dialogue between those two, like, that's most of their lines. It was awful. I would have rather listened to someone grating their nails on a chalkboard while also farting in my face. It was painful to keep hearing that. I hated that. I mean, a couple times throughout the movie that'd be fine, but it's almost every time they open their mouth, they're doing that same goddamn thing. And I understand it's part of their characters, but it's not like in the show that's the only way they talk. They know how to talk normal. I also really didn't like how many musical numbers there were in this movie. There was like at least 8 full-blown musicals in here. And it's not like the music itself was bad, but just so much of it. It felt like they had like 10 different studios that they had already hired to work on this movie, and they just didn't really know what to do with them. So they just said, you know what, can you just do a cool fucking music video that will shoehorn into the plot somewhere? Alright, great. And they put it all in the movie at the very end. Just so much musical numbers out of nowhere. None of them like actually bad on their own, but when they're all together, crammed like 3 within the span of 15 minutes, it's tiresome to keep hearing it. So that was a big negative for me. If they only had a couple, it would have been great because, like I said, they're not bad. Like, they're not bad on their own, but it's just when they're in this combination of like a jab, haymaker of musicals left and right, you get tired of it. You absolutely do. Let's just plug this shit into the moist meter. I'm giving Teen Titans Go to the movies. Another negative, I don't like the title. I'm giving it a 70% on the moist meter. It's a good movie. It really is. It's not to Lego Batman. It's a kids movie. It's more so a kids movie than something like Lego Batman, where it's kids and adults. This is more geared towards kids, but it's really not bad. It's good. It's enjoyable. It's a good use of your time if you want something to do or you don't have anything else to see. And I also really, really, really fucking love what they revealed or hinted at the post-credit scene, or one of the post-credit scenes rather. That is exciting shit. Very exciting shit. And that alone may have been worth watching the movie. Even if I hated it, that would have been worth it to get that payoff. But I didn't hate it. It's a good movie. See ya.
Initiating moisture.
It's the Moist Meter, making you wet. Today we're looking at a movie I've been extremely excited about. Incredibles fucking 2. The first Incredibles is my favorite Pixar movie. It's my favorite animated movie ever made, and I'm not just looking at it through rose-tinted vaginas. I saw a double feature where they did Incredibles and then Incredibles 2 back to back. The first one still holds up super fucking well. It is still an incredible movie to see, so for all 5 of you who haven't seen it, I would recommend you check it out. So Incredibles 2 picks up mere seconds after the last one ends, and it's been 14 years between the first one and second one. That's a long time. That's enough time for someone to have been born and learn about jerking off and put jerking off into practice during the release period of these two movies. The point I'm making, it's been a long fucking time, and they haven't missed a beat. They still have all that momentum from all those years ago. The movie's fucking great. Story is simple. They want to make superheroes legal again. They have 2 very powerful people to help make that a reality. Except the new supervillain comes along to complicate it. It's a very simple story that's able to deliver a very fun ride for the audience. It allowed them to introduce a lot more supervillains with some really cool superpowers to lead to a lot more super fucking fights, which is always nice to see from this. There's a really badass fight scene between Jack and a raccoon. Jack has this myriad of powers that he unleashes all on this raccoon who's able to match his every move, and it leads to a really entertaining fight. One that blows everything the DC universe has put on the big screen out of the water. All of that CGI, shit show, shit blaster, awful bore snooze fest action in DC movies was destroyed by Incredibles 2 Jack vs. Raccoon fight alone. That fight was able to match a Marvel fight scene. It was really fucking good, and all the fight scenes are for the most part. This is the rare sequel where it met my expectations for it. It was able to meet 14 years worth of hype and expectations, which is a fucking tall order. That's like Jesus being revived for a 3rd time. Jesus Mark III comes to Earth and people are satisfied. Yep, that's the Jesus I wanted to see. That's about right. That looks about right. Met my expectations. That's amazing. It is really fucking incredible what they were able to do here with this sequel. I was expecting to be disappointed, but I wasn't at all. I walked away extremely satisfied with what I watched. And it's Pixar, so as you would expect, the voice acting is second to none. All the performances are delivered the best way they possibly could to bring the characters to life in this beautiful world. However, I have to say, this movie doesn't have the same type of impact the first one had. The first Incredibles was a fucking game changer. That turned the world of animation on its asshole. This movie is more of just a play it safe, stay in that same era, and just deliver a kickback, fun adventure action movie. Just an entertaining ride, nothing that's going to change the landscape, nothing that's going to have this huge lasting impact, not like the first one. So, in a way, it feels underwhelming because it couldn't quite reach that same godhood status that the first one was able to reach. Incredibles 2 isn't a, damn, that just changed everything. It's more of a, damn, that was a refreshing sequel. But damn, is it a real refreshing sequel. It kept the spirit of the first one alive. Everything the first one did is emulated in the second one, and it even borrows some of the same themes and plot points a little bit, but that's not a huge negative thing. You would kind of expect that since it picks up literally right where it left off. But I'm very, very happy with how the sequel turned out. I really am, and I don't think too many people are going to be disappointed by Incredibles 2, so I'm just going to go ahead and plug this shit into the Moist Meter. I'm giving Incredibles 2 a 90%. I do think it's a fantastic fucking movie that just falls short on living up to what the Incredibles 1 was able to achieve. It does everything Incredibles 1 did, and it keeps it up here. It keeps all that momentum, but it really does feel more just like, we've seen this before. We've seen this now from a lot of other animated movies. Back when Incredibles 1 came along, we'd never seen anything like it. Now it's more, this is fun, we've seen it before, but I'm still having a lot of fun seeing it again. Which isn't a bad thing. And it's still a really, really good movie that is absolutely worth seeing 100%. See ya.